Everybody, and happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. You're recharged and ready for the week. I had an amazing time being off last week on spring break, had one of my littles here, and I'm ready to get back to reality. Or, guys, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. I truly think I might need a vacation from my vacation. Does anybody else ever feel like that? I mean, especially after having a 5-year-old around the house. I'm a little tired. But in case you're new here, I am Terry True Crime, and welcome to Midday Missing, where we highlight current missing person cases that need more attention. Now, Midday Missing is part of TCWT Media, and we are dedicated to raising awareness for missing person cases every Monday and Wednesday at noon Central. Now, True Crime and Wine Time, if you haven't heard this, we are going live in person for our first in person show of 2025 on May 3rd at Hamilton Pool Vineyard and Farms in the Austin, Texas area. And guys, we are bringing you our normal craziness. You know, you get me and JT together in person, you never know what's going to happen. But this time we are covering the shocking case of the Austin, Texas yogurt shop murders. If you don't know anything about that case, you're going to want to definitely listen. Now, tickets are officially on sale, so grab yours. Join us for a lot of fun. Also, if you're one of our paid channel members on YouTube, we will be streaming live to you. Warning heads up, this will be our first time streaming it live on the YouTube channel. So we're hoping it's all going to work. Double H will be there to be our audio engineer and hopefully keep us going. Now, before we get into today's cases, you've probably seen it in the chat, but it is one of our moderators, Lady in Gray's birthday. So we want everyone to say happy birthday to Lady in Gray and let's show her lots of love because, guys, birthdays are a big deal to me. You should celebrate your birthday. I like to celebrate the whole month of my birthday in July because, you know, after fighting cancer, still being here, I feel I should get the whole damn month. Okay. That's just me. But happy birthday, Lady in Gray. Thank you for everything you do for us behind the scenes. Guys, she's a moderator. She researches stuff. She helps write stuff for us. Let's just say she's all around fabulous. Okay. So we want her to have a great birthday. Now to the not so great stuff. So, in a quiet, tree lined neighborhood of Druid Hills, Atlanta, a young woman vanished under very weird circumstances that are so subtle, they almost seem ordinary, but it's not. So, on the surface, 25-year-old Jenna Van Gelderen was simply house sitting for her parents while they were out of town. She was responsible, dependable, and trusted to care for their home and their elderly cat. But by the time her parents returned from their trip, Jenna was gone, and the details left behind only make this mystery even crazier. So, the last known communication from Jenna came in the early morning hours of August 19th, 2017. She had texted a friend around 2 a.m. saying she was going to bed. After that, radio silence, guys. No calls, no texts, no social media activity, nothing. Now, later that morning, when a friend who happened to be a registered vet tech arrived at their home to administer medication to the cat, there was no answer at the door. So that friend called Jenna's brother, Will, and asked to be let in. When they went in the house, the lights and television were still on, but something was off. Jenna's makeup and shoes were still there, but her suitcase, cell phone, and car were gone. Also, guys, then there was this missing tapestry. So it was a distinctive hand stitched Egyptian tapestry that had been framed and hung in the home for years, but it was gone. It wasn't just taken, it had been carefully removed. The frame glass, I mean, it had been cut and replaced. The tapestry had sentimental value to the family. It was a piece that had been passed down through generations. So the disappearance of that feels very deliberate. So does Jenna's disappearance. Now, weeks later, her dark blue Mazda 6 would be found parked on a quiet residential street several miles away. The gas tank was nearly empty, and the driver's seat had been pushed far back as though someone much taller had been behind the wheel. Now, her suitcase, wallet, and glasses were inside. So were a pair of unfamiliar shoes and a phone charger that didn't belong to Jenna. But her cell phones, both of them were gone. Now, as investigators looked closer, they began to learn that Jenna had been leading a life that her parents hadn't fully known about. Guys, that is not overly strange. I don't think any of us tell our parents everything once we get older. Now, she had recently lost a job, and in the months before her disappearance, she had been charged with misdemeanor theft. Now, her parents believe she'd been manipulated by new acquaintances who took advantage of her trusting nature. Now, she had moved out of the family home and refused to say where she was living. Okay, guys, once again, that's a little odd, but not necessarily overly strange. Maybe she just wanted to feel like she was being independent. I don't know. They found she had a second phone that was hidden from her parents. So she was clearly seeking more independence, but from what or from whom remains unclear to this day. Now, there were no signs of forced entry at the home. There was no indications of a struggle. It was as if Jenna had simply stepped out into the night and never returned. Now, Jenna's second cell phone pinged near Fairburn, Georgia, which is about 20 miles away, and her car, before being found, was spotted on a license plate reader in Atlanta. Now, police do not know if Jenna was with her phone or the car because, guys, when it pinged that date and time, her car was seen on that license plate reader. It was not in the same place. Okay. But yet, every clue suggested she hadn't gone far willingly or alone. So, years have passed since that quiet August morning, and the questions still echo. Why was that tapestry taken? Who moved Jenna's car? And what happened in the hours after she sent that final text? I can't help but think possibly did someone think that tapestry was monetarily valuable? Were they thinking it was something that they could sell easily? I don't know. But the most important question is, where is Jenna Van Gelderen? Her family continues to search and to hope and to believe that someone out there knows something. Because as we have said, people do not just vanish. Now, despite thorough investigations, no significant leads have emerged. Jenna's family fears she may being held against her will, not her will. Her case remains unsolved, and authorities urge anyone with information to contact the DeKalb County Police Department at 770-724-7715. So, this next case was the early hours of September 13th, 2013 were quiet in Marietta, Georgia, until Tiffany Michelle Whitton vanished. Tiffany was 26 years old and had been at the Walmart Supercenter on Cobb Parkway around 2 a.m. with her boyfriend, Ashley Red Cottle. Guys, that name, Red Cottle, just cracks me up. Sorry. The two had been wandering aisles for about an hour. Now, store surveillance showed Tiffany under the influence, acting erratic and fidgety as she tucked merchandise into her clothing. and it was just enough to raise red flags. Now, as they headed for the exit, two Walmart employees stepped in. They suspected Tiffany of shoplifting. Guys, Tiffany froze, then bolted, leaving behind her purse, her shoes, and her boyfriend. Now, she sprinted barefoot into the night, vanishing beyond the reach of the security cameras by 2:04 a.m. That was the last time anyone saw her. She didn't come back. Now, Tiffany wasn't a stranger to trouble. At the time of her disappearance, she was battling addictions to heroin and meth. She had been fired from her job at IHOP. If you don't know what IHOP is, it's the International House of Pancakes. I learned recently, not everybody knows what that is, but that IHOP was across the street from that Walmart, and she was let go for stealing. Now, she was also on probation for burglary, but it was set to expire in March of 2014. Still, despite the chaos of her life, she was active on social media and deeply connected to her 6-year-old daughter. So they say it was not like her to just disappear. Now, Cottle claimed he went to the IHOP after she ran, asking staff if anyone had seen her. No one had, but he never reported her missing. Okay, Cottle, why not? Why? I, if you know, call me, let me know. Now, it wasn't until January, 4 months later, that her mother, who was taking care of her daughter, officially reported her disappearance to police. She had grown concerned after her grandmother received a restitution notice from Walmart mentioning the items Tiffany had tried to take. So when her grandmother got this, she called Tiffany's mom. So that's when it became clear no one heard from her since then. Not a friend, not family. There was no trace online. Now, 10 months after Tiffany ran out of Walmart, investigators searched the house where Caudle lived, which was his mother's home. They even excavated the backyard, but found nothing. People close to the couple described their relationship as volatile. Guys, a lot of time when drugs are involved, there's a lot of volatility in relationships. Arguments often turned intense, and at least one had led to an eviction. Now, Cottle was evasive about details from the night Tiffany vanished, giving conflicting accounts. Now, guys, he has since been sentenced to 20 years in jail for unrelated meth charges and for possessing a firearm. While being a convicted felony, he does remain a person of interest. Now, Tiffany Whitton didn't just run from a store that night. She, guys, ran straight into a mystery, one that to this day remains unsolved. Her case is still open, and somewhere someone knows what happened after 2 a.m. And as I have said before, anyone can run away or run off because they want to get away from something or somebody. That doesn't mean something nefarious doesn't happen. Without her shoes, guys, she could have ran up to a stranger looking for help. They said she was fidgety. She was probably on drugs. Or, guys, maybe she went back to the truck and hid in the truck. And Cottle just said she didn't make it back to the truck. I mean, so many things. Now, sadly, guys, Tiffany's case has not received a lot of media attention, even though she is a young white female. I often say if you're a white female, blue eyes, blonde hair, you're going to get a lot of attention. But, guys, sadly, as we have learned while covering missing person cases, that sometimes the media does not talk about cases of missing people who had drug issues or if they're not the perfect victim. I personally believe that is what happened in this case. Um, they just kind of wrote her off, which she was, she had gone to rehab before. It's an addiction, it's a long process. So she's still someone's mother, child, granddaughter, friend. So if you have any information about the disappearance of Tiffany Michelle Whitton, no matter how small or how seemingly unimportant you think it is, please contact the Marietta Police Department at 770-794-5300. Also, please share the missing person flyers that we post on Midday Missing's Facebook page. Help get the word out. And if you live in Georgia, share it everywhere you can. Share it on your neighborhoods, everywhere you can. Let's help these families find their loved one. Now, I have some interesting tips for you today. Now, in case you didn't know, and if you don't know, you probably are going to be panicked if you have children. Easter is this weekend. Okay. So you need to be prepared. Now, we are not having children here this Easter. We are doing an adults only Easter brunch, but some of these still apply to us. Okay. You need to supervise those egg hunts, guys. If it's plastic eggs filled with candy or real ones dyed with care, make sure kids and pups are always supervised, okay? And guys, keep a head count on the eggs and the children, and maybe one on Uncle Bob too, just in case, especially if you're serving peptinis, which I will be making, because you need to make sure everyone's accounted for, okay? And guys, chocolate bunnies and the chocolate robin candies are delicious for humans, but they are dangerous for dogs. Okay. So please keep all chocolate out of Paw's reach and stick to pet safe treats for your four-legged guest. So buy them some cute little treats so they won't need to eat the chocolate. Okay. Now, avoid real grass in baskets, okay? That shiny plastic Easter grass, believe it or not, guys, it's a major choking hazard for toddlers and for dogs and cats, okay? So opt for the paper filler that you can buy, or reusable fabric. Guys, it's not only safer, it's more eco-friendly, okay? Now, guys, you also, when I said count the eggs, another thing, forgotten eggs in the sun become rotten little time bombs. Okay. So if you're hiding real eggs, you want to make sure none are left behind, because they might become a dog's midday snack sometime. And trust me, you do not want your dog to crack open that egg after some time. And on the plastic ones, the chocolate melts. Last year, we had two eggs that were not found that day. Thankfully, they were plastic, but when we found them weeks later, all of the candy had melted, but there was no bad smells. And thankfully, the dogs hadn't cracked into them. Okay. Now, keep your decorations pet and kid safe. Okay. Skip glass, sharp edged, or small decorations that can break or be swallowed. Okay. Now, bonus points if you're like me and you use decorations that are chew proof or slobber proof and toddler tantrum proof, because even my 5-year-old threw a tantrum this past week when he was here, and he was very dramatic, threw himself back on the couch because he didn't want a toaster strudel. Luckily, he didn't break anything. Also, guys, whether you are hosting a brunch or an Easter egg party, make sure there's lots of water, not just mimosas, a Bloody Mary bar, or a Peptini. Okay. You need to have water for the adults and the little ones. Okay. So, and if you're bringing a dog with you, you need to make sure you have a water bowl for them. Okay. And guys, this is to me because I've done this before. If your dog hates dressing up as a bunny, don't force them. Do not make them wear the Easter ears or cats, as my girlfriend Catherine does, because if they don't like it, there's a reason. Okay. So just skip it. Just skip it. Now, I do hope everyone has a joyful, safe, love filled Easter. And just remember, a little planning goes a long ways towards a happy holiday. I mean, guys, I even sent out Easter cards because that's me because I'm a little special, right? Now, I do want to thank you all for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday for our next episode of Midday Missing, where we will be covering Chase Lackey and Ian Wilcox. Now, True Crime and Wine Time airs every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, where we offer a weekly deep dive into a shocking true crime case, perfectly paired with wine or a cocktail. Now, this week, we will cover the case of the disappearance that baffles Ireland. Trevor Deely. Guys, it's a case, okay? It's a case. Now, in case you haven't heard, or if you're new here, we have been doing a live series on Sundays of the Zizian cult. Now, this Sunday, we will not be on because it's Easter, but we will be back next Sunday. Now, we're exploring their radical beliefs and the disturbing trail of violence and a shocking body count. So, this is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central. I had to miss the last two, and I'm kind of feeling like I missed out. I watched them, but I still feel like I was missing out because I wasn't there to hang out with you guys. But luckily, producer Tara, Captain, and of course, JT all did a great job. Now, oh, and it looks like Not a Drama Llama says she got my glitter filled Easter card. Yes, guys, you cannot mail cards without glitter or confetti. If you are, you need to stop doing that. You always need to have glitter on hand. In my case, it's always pink glitter. It's required, okay? Even if you're not a Southern girl, okay? Now, don't forget, you can also join our Facebook group. That is where we will post all of our missing person posters, as well as share other posters from other sites that we have validated. Now, you can follow us on all social media to stay connected and be a part of the conversation. And you can catch all of our shows here on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, or you can listen to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And guys, if you know of or you have a loved one missing and are interested in having their story featured on an upcoming episode and or join us for a live interview, you can contact us at amy@tcwtmedia.com or terry@tcwtmedia.com. Now, guys, as always, until next time, please stay safe, stay aware, see something, say something. Let's help these families bring their loved ones home. Bye, guys. I will see you on Wednesday. Take care.